Thank you, thank you. Yeah, wild trading day yesterday. Obviously, really crazy quantum rally. There's still a nonsense sector, but when momentum's bid up, you can't really do much. Focus, learn a few new stocks or something. Insane. Stocks are up 20-25% for really no reason, but for no reason. But reasons aren't important. And yeah, I had a lot to do yesterday. I have a lot to do in general. I don't know how much streaming I could really do going forward. Try, but spending a lot of time with data and programming and things like that. So I'm very confident in Spruce. Some are calling it the Spruce Moose. Yeah, I'd be up like 500% without quantum. I think I calculated. You know, everybody would be up a lot if you took out your biggest loser. That's normal. Who would be down? Easy money stocks. Yeah, we don't want to be the Spruce Army, but well, I have the position size I want. So when you have the position size you want, you know, I mean, it's flat, so there's no reason to buy more. If it went down 30% or something, maybe. But yeah, the rocket submission is good. Thoughts on thoughts. Well, Rick Sanchez, I do sometimes invest in other sectors. Yeah, open doors, so sad, man. That was such a flash in the pan. And BTQ is going to do the same thing. No, if Spruce falls below 100, I would buy. What's wrong with some of you people, man? Sometimes I don't want to stream because of you. Because of you. Guy types, why is it red? What red? What are you talking about? Which stock? What is the business for LLM? What does that mean? Try to write a complete sentence. If you need help writing a complete sentence, ask ChatGPT, man. What are the chances Spruce doesn't get FDA approval the first time around? It's probably like 50-50, but the second time around, I think it's 100%. They don't have to do a new trial, but I think the manufacturing is not trivial, so they have to fix up their manufacturing. Maybe they'll delay their filing. You know, like they don't have to file in Q1. If they push that out to Q2 or Q3, it's honestly probably better than filing and getting rejected. But shorting is investing. Just a weird form of investing for sure. You know, you could also say it's speculation. I don't really care what you call it. You know, it's also not the be all end all. I mean, long investing is still the majority of what I do, but short investing or short selling can be kind of exciting. Yeah, that 𝗙𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗏 thing was very weird. No, ATYR cannot recover. Come on. You can't just take a drug and try to do something else with it. It's very hard to do. The drug would have to be like very flexible. Okay. JNJ reports Q3 2025 results.
Johnson & Johnson.
Yikes. Raises 2025 sales outlook. I'm not current on 𝗠𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗏. I thought it was fairly valued last I looked at it, which was not too long ago. Okay. So sales grew 5% for JNJ. That's like, you know, barely above inflation. And they're spinning out more medtech, which is kind of funny. Ortho's just been such a disaster. I think they should have spun out Ortho a long time ago. This new CEO, honestly, not bad. I can never understand a word he says. Johnson & Johnson. No, he says Johnson, but everything else he says the way you would expect. Okay. Yeah, 𝗠𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗏? I forget how to say it, actually. I actually don't know how to spell it. Yeah, so we'll have to wait for the replay there, but cardiovascular. Let's see if the momentum stocks will sell off today or not. There's no real difference between the quantum stocks and Oklo, and it's all kind of one space. I like to focus on quantum because I know it. I know the fundamentals. There's not really any fundamentals, but you know what I mean. I feel a lot more comfortable shorting those because I know in the long run where they're headed. But, you know, obviously I don't know much about what's going on with the WBD. All right, let's go to ecology for Johnson & Johnson. DARZLEX still growing 20%. Really incredible. That was CARVYKTI, also growing quite nicely. CARVYKTI is really killing it. $2 billion CAR-T. I mean, is that the biggest CAR-T now? I think so. Could it be 3 billion? Probably. It'd be hard to stop that train. IMBRUVICA's hanging in better than I would thought. IMBRUVICA's still kind of dropping. I didn't think anybody expected, AbbVie or others, how fast BTK competition would come in. But it's here. Erlita, Johnson & Johnson. So yeah, the big news from Johnson & Johnson, Stellaris, I mean, it started last quarter, but it's really fully kind of biosimilared out, it looks like. I mean, still a big drug, but, you know, dropping precipitously. Yeah, I mean, quantum could take years. I mean, we just don't know when, where, or how any of those what is the important thing. But when, where, and how are kind of nobody knows. So you just have to be able to stick to it. If you want the perfect trade, I mean, I don't know, find somebody else to help you, because I don't know how to do that. I don't think that's easy. Breakthrough headline risk. What's the breakthrough? I don't think it could stay bloated for years and years, but you have to be prepared for that regardless. I mean, one thing you learn about the stock market is anything is possible. Literally anything is possible. So you got to be pretty much, ready for anything. And I mean anything. No rhyme or reason sometimes. And rhyme or reason can be completely gone for 3, 4, 5 years, in a row. So don't try to rely on rationality too much. No, nothing new to report. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Johnson. I think these guys are really confused as to why. It's really hard to explain. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀, that's not something that I really have disclosed, but thanks for asking anyway. That's a little personal. You're kind of getting in my personal space. It's really kind of making me uncomfortable, quite frankly. But don't be so melancholy. Yeah, Rigetti has no clue what's happening. They're all like, huh? Why? What did we do? Why is the stock up? We didn't do anything. This is Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson. They can't really profit. They get a little more visibility, which is always good. And they can get investor capital, but without actual product and something useful, that's pretty hard for them to actually get some real value. No, I don't think I'm going to use outside capital for the quantum trade, but I don't know. I know there's Warner Brothers drama. Well, if you're a massive fan, I've been doing this for like 15 years straight, so I don't think you should be confused about what I'm doing. Seems like pretty unlikely you're a massive fan, given investors on Wall Street tend to make financial models on spreadsheets so they can kind of make their own forecasts and keep track of their expectations for companies' earnings over the long run. Uh-oh, look at 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀 coming back. I don't think I would do any blue-collar job. I mean, I'm kind of an intellectual, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Army general, that's what I would be. That white paper though. I would describe myself as a hustler. It's a fact. Yeah, the ex-CFO job is open. I don't know. I don't know if I want the Elon smoke. I would definitely be walking around beating up the salespeople. Is this all you're capable of? Is this the best you have to offer? You working for me and Elon. You wanted to work for the best. Well, now you're here. Go out and close. Then I have a guitar playing some crazy riff. Problem is, if I miss a quarter, Elon's on my Malton. What is this? Elon, it's just the numbers for Q3. I'm asking you, how are they this bad? We did our best. I think that these results did all best. Are you stupid? Don't answer that. I know you're stupid. Is somebody ready to clip? Hey, Ziz, can you record my stream? I'm about to we need to clip something. It does not work that way.
Look, I thought you were Shkreli, creeping around my office again.
Hey, it's Shkreli. What's up, man?
Jesus Christ, Shkreli, you can't even spell your own name right? That's exactly the kind of incompetence that's killing us.
How can I make X a better place?
Stop jacking up pharma prices and start fixing our ad platform. Our revenue's down 40% and you're asking how to help.
Okay, I'm gonna fire up the sales team. I'm gonna give them a good pep talk. Well, Elon, if I don't make next quarter, what's gonna happen to my job?
You missed target and you'll be back in a jumpsuit counting commissary ramen instead of CFO spreadsheets. Got it?
Dude, it's not my fault if we miss our numbers. Well, honestly, it's kind of your fault too.
My fault? Listen here, I'm revolutionizing space travel and electric cars while you're playing Pharma Bro, our balance sheet.
Well, I saw the SPRB because I bought it after their breakthrough designation, and most had it up on there. It was up like 200%. And I looked into it. I was like 10x from here, and I bought it, and told the world about it, and it 10x. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 is supposedly a good short. That looks like it's up 20%. CLSQ up 20%. Hard. It's kind of this delayed effect. Trilogy metals up 30%. Critical metals up 20%. The rare metal stuff is working. So quantum stocks rally, given there are a few stocks up quite a lot, and 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 is barely down. So again, I don't think it makes sense to short-term focused on this stuff. Yeah, Lays is a short, but I'm also short this BTQ. I think Sarepta data was good, but it takes time to. They're kind of in the doghouse, and they need to get back into the good graces of Wall Street, which may take some time. Everything sort of takes time. You know, Buffett said the market is a device that takes money from the impatient and gives it to the patient. So try to be patient, my advice. You know, Buffett also once described the market as a crazy guy who lives next door to you, Mr. Market, and he screams prices at you all day long. Sometimes they sound crazy and you can ignore them, but occasionally the price is pretty good and you say, you know what, I'll take that. So your job is to use Mr. Market to your advantage instead of, be a slave to Mr. Market's recent prices. Yeah, Davis, I mean, when you buy out of the money puts, you sort of convert the quantum situation into more of a binary outcome, and you lose the leverage that comes with, which is, I think, sort of expected. You know, if you're buying a leap, you're kind of implicitly making a flatter bet than maybe you would make otherwise, which is fine. You know, not everyone wants to make a big leveraged bet. Yeah, I'm being conservative, Eddie. I do think SPRB could be $1,000 stock, but, be conservative. You never know what could go wrong. But yeah, I think your numbers are right. Yeah, I mean, long-term index returns are definitely not 12%. That would be kind of ridiculous. And then you have inflation and taxes. So those are and now the risk that you actually don't effectively do your index position. It sounds trivial to buy an index, but you could certainly mistime it. Panic. People do that all the time. They tend to get out. There's a lot of panic. I don't know about gold. Real quick. Ooh, CAPR is kind of a small cap. It's only 300 million market cap now. They don't burn that much. So let's see, on failure. Yeah, I do think a portfolio based around Bitcoin and Zcash is pretty crazy. Yeah, don't need the money, I guess. You want to speculate like crazy. Yeah, so they run like 12-ish a quarter. I don't know when gold will go down or what their latest news is or anything. So cash value for CAPR is 268. So maybe it trades to like 2 or something. It's a CAPR options for December or November. Let's see, the 5 puts are dollar. Jesus. December puts are $1.60. It's like all but guaranteeing. 5 puts break even at 330. Stock's only really going to go to 250. So 5 puts are worth $2.31 and they're trading for $1.65, which is only 30-40% return. So market heavily expects failure. 56 cents. I don't know. That's not the number I have. They have 123 million in cash. Comparison quantum, no. Why would we win bullish? Yeah, Bitcoin supply demand. I mean, I think the problem is where's the demand when there's a lot of investment opportunity. Right now, there's not a lot of investment opportunity, but there could be a time in the future where when there's so much more to invest in trade. Right now, there isn't much, but if we have a recession or depression, then you'll have a lot of capital, and Bitcoin will be down quite a lot. I think. Get a crawl before you ball, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who failed at making quantitative terminals. You have to be very careful because you want to make something more powerful, but you also don't want to lose your customer in complexity. And you want something powerful that users will enjoy, but not something that too overlapping with their current suites. It's a tricky thing. You make a feature that 4 people want. It's a little bit cumbersome to do that. To be a topologist to some financial statistics. Market rallying as Powell gets dovish, but I don't think it's going to work. Lowering rates in this environment is not going to help, even though that might be what the market thinks it wants right now. That's usually bearish. Log periodic power law? Yeah, I'm not a bubbleologist. I don't really like to look at charts, but looking at other kinds of data transforms, I'm assuming HMM is hidden Markov model, or I guess hierarchical hidden Markov model. Neoclouds are definitely unusual. A lot of my friends are involved in them, and I hope it ends well for them. And I think it'll. I don't know. It's hard to see how much cash flow you can make. So we'll sort of see. I'm not a dividend. I'm actually Well, I basically have no opinion on dividend stocks. I don't think there's a quantum stock to short the most. I mean, I like D-Wave maybe the most, just because it's such a scam. Yeah, I mean, Druckenmiller has his method. I mean, you know, if you use technical analysis, good for you. I don't really care, you know, just because somebody else makes money. My buddy asked Warren Buffett if he ever thought about how Renaissance or Soros or other traders make money, and he said he didn't care. He had his way, and that was it. Yeah, I wish I had the time to look at every single biotech. That'd be great. Borrow rates are not easy to track, but we're working on getting a good data set for that. SpaceX, OpenAI, ByteDance, Anthropic, Waymo, Stripe, Databricks, xAI, Revolut, Anduril, Canva, Figure, Ramp, Scale AI, Ripple, Perplexity, Fanatics, Epic Games, Rippling, Applied Intuition, Neuralink, Kraken, Crusoe, Devoted Health, Deal, and Cursor as the daily private prices. So check that out. Wow, look at D-Wave go. 42, unbelievable. Maybe I should short some more D-Wave, I don't know. Kind of feel like D-Wave is like a total scam. Wouldn't call it parabolic. Most of the stocks are still down slightly. It went parabolic yesterday. Yeah, it's definitely euphoric, crazy prices. Just, you know, try to have something long. If you only have shorts, it's a little, you're kind of asking for the beta, negative beta. Yeah, for a 20 billion valuation, you kind of have to assume that in the long run, a company can make $1 billion a year, which is pretty, that's without discounting, of course. So $1 billion a year is a lot. Yeah, I said that we have, we only hire in New York. We have a CTO from 2Sigma. What's the RevuForge? I was looking, because I'm going to look at the Biohaven binary event. We don't use Go. We don't use Go over here. All right, we have $68.5 million on Godel. It's pretty cool. 398 of you have connected your account. It's about 200K on average. Somebody connected a monster account. But yeah, thanks so much for signing up. I am very bearish on quantum stocks, yes. I might be a few percent of that, I don't know. But it's not all me. You guys are nuts. I have to give you that data later. Hey, someone might go to prison for D-Wave. We'll see. I think you're just a little too intense for our culture. Of course, I'm flattered, but I don't know if it's a good fit. Plus, we really only like New York people. We only really have an office in New York, so we're sticking to people who are just in New York. Not too many institutions are buying into quantum, very few. Oh, hey, look at Spruce, 185, let's go. Go, 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 go. Stocks can go to any price. It's infinite, right? There's no specific limit. I'm not really, I'm just, being honest. New York is really the biggest barrier. You got to decide, think tank, how much do you want to trade it versus how much do you want to hold it? Sometimes you can overtrade thinking, you can be cute and get a couple dollars and you miss it all. Sometimes you are cute and it works out. We actually don't have an earnings calendar, but we can add one. I'm not sure what's explaining the divergence. Quantum's kind of flat actually if you look at the average. D-Wave's just rip-roaring for no reason. D-Wave I think had a really bad quarter too. There's no legal limit for a price to go to, can theoretically go to any number. The stock market won't say no, that's illegal. So you can get a 50 sigma event or whatever. So there's no actual limit. Yeah, D-Wave is pretty good short. I think that looks, it's a 50 sigma event on a standard deviation, but it doesn't really, clearly your standard deviation maybe wasn't the best metric. But Bloomberg, you have this great function. I'll give you an example. So Bloomberg has this historical return histogram, and you can see the sigma here is 1%. So, distribution is really well behaved for something like SPY. It's very unlikely you're going to have some crazy event. But the problem with that is if you did that exact analysis for Moonlake, Moonlake had a very, very bad day. Tail was really crazy. Oh yeah, it's cutting off the outliers. That's funny. I don't want any outliers. I don't know what Bloomberg's doing here. Ah, there we go. This is super funny. So if you remove the outlier, here's the Moonlake distribution. So the sigma without, and again, this is why standard deviation isn't exactly the most meaningful thing, but you see the sigma here is 6%, but it didn't stop the stock from going down 88% down here. It's a pretty brutal result. Oh my God, insufferable. So yeah, you can have a 50 sigma event. That's a biotech company there, so it had this unexpected loss. Okay, market turning back. Growth equity. I'm not sure what you're asking. A job? Or what is with this, like, inadequacy? We don't just, develop software haphazardly. I mean, we try to think about how we add software to the platform. So there's some other priorities right now. Some people want some things and other people want others. So, I still like Sarepta. We still have to do bonds, for example. We're rolling out bonds soon, and that's a huge amount of work. Yeah, I don't know about a Benelux office just yet, but that'd be cool someday. Bonds, baby. And we're doing privates, lots of stuff. So we're not completely, there's just a lot to do. We'll probably hire a quant department at some point. Wall Street's bonds are sort of as big as stocks on Wall Street, or sometimes even bigger. CAPR, there's not much to think about there. Yeah, I mean, I think there are some people at Jane that are very good, obviously. There's some people, at other places. Working for a software company and then working for a quantitative firm are obviously pretty different, but some parts are the same. Janssen is J&J. We just call it Johnson & Johnson over here. It used to be Paul Janssen, so it was just happened to be a similar name. But yeah, quant and React are pretty different. But ultimately, the kind of data pipelines we're managing are pretty intricate. So I don't know if I'm still buying. I bought it, so I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with the J&J thing, honestly. I don't know what dswave going to do. They're kind of crazy. dswave doesn't have the right phone number. I don't know that's. I mean, it's certainly not good. It's the end of the world. Yeah, there are fewer and fewer diseases, that's for sure. What resource has helped you most when it comes to software engineering? I would say my colleagues, and obviously some of the AI tools. And then, I did a lot of programming as a kid, so, informal kind of programming comes pretty easy. I think data structures and really good practices don't come easy. And, all programming comes down to experience in a lot of ways. Like, you got to know the library really well. If you're using a library, you got to really understand what you can and can't do, and just spend a lot of time with it.